topic of the day. What should be the topic of the day?
Coffee. It's coffee.
I don't know.
Why not?
We're promoting caffeine. I don't think we should do that.
You got your stupid vitamin water thing over there. What is that?
What's up? Welcome to the newest episode of It's So Rando. It's been a minute.
It's been years.
It's been 84 years.
It literally has. So I don't know if y'all didn't watch like all our other content. We had COVID, flu, a string of colds. It's just been terrible. The kids are getting sick every 2 seconds and then getting us sick. Like even the baby has suffered. She had COVID. It's been rough.
Poor little baby.
Yeah. Her little nose has been so red and she's still just been smiling through it all though. So you gotta give her that.
But in the comment section, let us know how you guys have been. Have you been sick? Just, let us know how you're doing.
If not, I hope you suffer. Slowly.
You should stop being evil.
Why?
You should stop being evil.
Whatever.
Are you a dark wizard?
No, but let's talk about my
dark
favorite.
witch?
I like this one. I'm gonna like this. So look, today we're gonna talk about something that I'm always excited to talk about because I'm a book nerd. So, witches,
And
warlocks, wizards. He finally played
in
Harry
different
Potter.
media.
Whatever. I finally got him onto like a lot of fantasy stuff. So he's been watching like a lot of True Blood, Vampire
fantasy.
Diaries. I dragged you into it since high school.
But okay, you didn't drag me into Harry Potter because I've actually watched those when I was a kid. I did.
Lies.
I just wasn't into them.
You're supposed to at least go along with this and make me believe that I was the reason that you started watching.
Well, I mean,
everything.
not Harry Potter, but everything else, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just won't let me have it. Anyway, you go ahead and start.
You go. It's sure you go.
You want me to start? Okay, so it's a lot of witchcraft and wizard stuff out there. Like we could even go as far as the Vampire Diaries and Bonnie Bennett, which is a huge topic for a lot of people because they feel that Bonnie was done like wrong in that show.
I'm gonna just say one thing. Let's go to Africa.
Oh right, the little ticket thing at the end. Their finale was so bad, and I wanted to like it too because I remember like being in college and watching the Vampire Diaries finale. I'm super excited. I like called my friend next door to see if he was watching it, and the wig that they had on Nina Dobrev was terrible. What they did with Bonnie at the end, going to like the ticket just said Africa, nothing else on the ticket as far as where she supposedly went. You know what I'm saying? Like after this was all over. Whatever. It was just bad. And then how they treated Bonnie too throughout the series was kind of bad. At first, I didn't notice it until people started pointing it out. Like years later, it became this huge topic of discussion once people started rewatching the show. She died all the time. She was dying for stuff that she really didn't. Like her grandma was teaching her to, get away from these vampires and all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And they made her stick with it, even though she didn't actually believe in it. Like it was bad. When it comes to stuff like that, she was treated badly.
Yeah, her character, they did her character so bogus in that show. Down from her hair to what she wore, then on top of that, like they would have her come back in like such dramatic fashions, like, man, she's just this badass witch. Then 2 episodes later, she gets killed. I'm like, what the?
Yeah,
like, what?
Yeah, I feel like that was a bit like you can't hype her up to be the best.
Right.
Be a part of this big bad bloodline, and then she dies every 2 seconds. And then I didn't like what they did with her love interests either.
They killed all of them.
Yeah, I feel like she should have
just ended up with the main character.
I liked her and Damon together. I was hoping that they were gonna do that, but of course not, right?
I didn't like Nina Dobrev's character.
Yeah.
I didn't see what was so special about her other than she just was the doppelganger of their love interest from when the 1800s or something. But even still,
now Catherine was cold. I loved Catherine, but
we'll get into vampires. That's
a whole different thing. Right. We could do a whole episode on that one too.
But it was so many other cool witches in the shows. Like you had the Gemini Coven.
Ooh, I like them. They were
Gemini.
Cool. Yeah, the Geminis.
Like they were like, what's his name? He was the
Kai?
Kai, yeah, man, that man Kai, he was a menace. That man was a menace.
He was. I loved Kai. I feel like the Gemini could have had their own little spin-off TV show too, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Because they brought them in, only had them that for maybe like 1 or 2 seasons, and then that was kind of it. Besides when Kai came back in Legacies, which that was a mess.
See, the thing I liked about the Vampire Diaries is because they had different covens and they actually explored different lores with each of the covens. Like they all had their particular set of abilities. That's what I liked about it. Like Bonnie being from the strongest bloodline, but you couldn't really tell because you know the way they treated her is like she was so powerful. She came back one season, she was able to hurt the what's their name, Stefan and Damon, like just with her mind. And then next thing you know, literally an episode later, they was all scared of her. The next episode, she just got knocked out cold.
Yeah, I feel like they were inconsistent with how strong her bloodline was supposed to be. And like I said, we gonna go deeper into the whole vampire thing too, maybe in another episode. But they did the same thing with Hope when they did Legacies. They hyped her up to be this big bad.
Well, I mean, she became the big bad, but she was
still kind of trash. You know what I'm like? You can't do this because I expected her to be badder than Klaus, and that's not what happened. It was a letdown. You know what I'm saying? And it was the same kind of with the whole Bonnie thing. I even feel like Bonnie could have came back in Legacies. You know what I'm saying? When Hope thought that she was all big and bad, Bonnie could have put her down, or should have been able to put her down. It was. Yeah.
My bad, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Bonnie was still better than useless Freya.
What was? You forget that Freya was even a witch, because it's just like she was just
this all like when she first came onto the scene, she just had these people following her, and she was just the strong ass witch. Like people were scared of her and like, oh, she's the sister of the originals. I'm like, okay,
yeah, they did hype her up too.
Like they hyped her up, and she literally was the damsel in distress every season.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Bonnie dying, it was their sister being kidnapped or just not being able to pull off spells. And I'm like, okay, Bonnie's one thing, but you're the daughter of the original witch.
Yeah.
You like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's like, what's with this character writing?
Yeah.
Because it's like, her power, like, I can't even explain to you what her powers were because she was so goddamn useless, I don't even remember.
Yeah, and it was kind of the same with their mom, too, because she was a witch. And it's like we saw her for like 2 seconds and they killed her off. I'm just like,
yeah.
But why? You know what I'm saying? It was kind of, not even kind of, it was very inconsistent.
And you see, that's where, and again, I like the like how they did it, like making them different, because the witches and warlocks in that series are way different than the ones in the Harry Potter series by a long shot. Because the witches and wizards in Harry Potter mainly use wands for for their abilities, and you have to say the spells right to get it down.
Right.
And then it was a Hogwarts Legacies. Yeah, by the way, great game. There's a particular character in the game. I think her name is Natty, Natsai or something. And her and her mama from Uganda. They can use magic without wielding a wand, and they're the only ones in the game that could do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, because like you don't need a wand to do any spells or whatever. She was in the missions just casting spells. I'm like, man, why can't we do like her then?
And I kind of feel like too that was another inconsistency in a lot of witch lore and a lot of the stuff that we watched. Because if you pay attention to in the Vampire Diaries at first, I think Bonnie was saying spells, and then they got to the point where she wasn't. And then was again. Like it was kind of, like, do you need to say something to make this stuff happen or what? You know what I'm saying? Because it was kind of randomly there and then not there.
I think this is where they kind of clash, because in a lot of series, when the witch or the warlock can just cast a spell without doing, I'm gonna bring Naruto in this, without doing hand symbols or incantations or just saying the spells that, like, they were to a higher degree, like a higher level. Like I seen that in a lot of different series. Like, oh, I don't even have to say it, I could just do it, or think it, or something like that. I don't have to sit there and be like, hocus pocus, Avada Kedavra, and
and like not only the Vampire Diaries, we could pull from a lot of stuff. True Blood had witches in it. We also watched this show briefly. We didn't finish it yet, but
the Mayfair.
Yeah, Mayfair witches.
That show delves deep into the older lore with witches. Like, witches are connected to the devil, or like like demons, or something like that. Because I believe the main character in the first episode, the main character's daughter. I said daughter. The main character's mother, not daughter. Yeah. She
like
connected with like a demon or something.
Yeah,
because what they do, she had the main character, and she sent her off with someone else that was in that coven.
Because like her mom, I don't know if she was like trying to have her killed, stifle her power, or what it was, because she was concerned that she was like doing something weird with the devil or demons. And so she was basically trying to have the baby live a normal life, so she arranged for the baby to be sent off somewhere because she thought her mom was crazy. It's a bunch.
Man, if she didn't live a normal life, make her mad, she pop at a temple.
Yeah, right. Like
she like her anger. Like, I would hate to make her mad. It is, see, the inconsistency with that show is, how didn't they just put two and two together every time she was around somebody? It made her mad. They died the exact same way. Right. There's no connection. Like, everybody, oh damn, they just had an aneurysm. Everybody had a damn aneurysm. Right.
And it's like, she was telling them too, like, something is wrong with me because I just made this happen to this person. And they just, no, that's not what's happening. What? Like, so how did this person die yesterday from this aneurysm, and then today somebody else died from an aneurysm that was standing in front of, like, what?
Right. Her boss made her mad because they wouldn't put her foster mom on the surgery.
Yeah.
So she got mad. Well, basically he wanted to sleep with her. He
was on some rapey stuff.
Yeah, he was. So she got mad, and he had a headache and temple pop, aneurysm, dead. I don't know what happened. Then she goes to a seminar with this world famous surgeon again. That's the same thing. Got mad. He didn't try the same thing with her. He wasn't on that. He was actually on, like, look, I'll give your mom a place on this the surgery list, but you have to be the one to kick somebody off of it.
Yeah. But no, he was still on some weird sex stuff too. Oh, okay. But he was trying to get her to basically kill somebody else, essentially, for her mom to make that list. And she felt like that was wrong, because these people were on it before her mama. All of this. So she ended up getting frustrated and, like, made an aneurysm occur between two or whatever.
Like, dude, why nobody look into it with him? Because he was like this rich surgeon. Like nobody.
The party just kept happening. Like, ain't nobody look for him, and it was his party. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, I guess.
Nobody look for that. Like, they crazy for that. It's like she out here killing people. They kill her right in their face, and they just looking right past and try to do an investigation. I'm like, how wasn't she a suspect if she was in the vicinity of that room each time that those people died?
And I feel like something else that just popped into my head, honestly, it's not a lot of, I mean, besides Harry Potter, it seems like most of the time now when it deals with witchcraft, it's literally only witches. Like you very rarely see males take the lead anymore when it comes to stuff like that. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I think American Horror Story did a pretty good job with season 8, Apocalypse with the Warlocks.
That is by far, like, AHS's version of Witches and Wizards is by far one of the best ones I've seen in a very long time. Angela Bassett, A1. Even and you can't look, this whole Angela Bassett thing, I know with her losing her Oscar, he was there. I was livid. Like, everybody was, I think. We gonna get on that. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, Angela Bassett did the thing.
That's a whole nother thing. But like,
But Jamie Lee, she's all of us, right?
really? Oh my god. But Angela Bassett as the witch in AHS for like the Black Coven, even like the White Coven, like that stuff was cold. Like the way that they did it, that was one of the best adaptations of witchcraft I've ever seen. Like, it really was.
Right, the Black Coven, they were the voodoo, black magic voodoo,
and they followed actual black lore all the way back.
Yeah,
you know,
because that magic stuff, it literally originated with voodoo. Like that was the first, and they considered it, you know, evil or whatever, but they used it for healing and all that type of stuff. I ain't getting into all that because I ain't got time for arguments. but yeah, I did like the voodoo witches, you know, a little bit better because their powers were freaking crazy. Like Queenie, her power, like that was crazy. She was able to hurt herself. She was like a walking voodoo doll.
Yeah,
like
that was
a walking
cool.
voodoo doll. And then the Supreme.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I like Jessica Lange. I like Sarah Paulson, but the Supreme character was useless. They were useless. The other people behind them were way better.
I'll give you that. We really see that.
Emma Roberts was better.
Yes. And
she made a freaking zombie.
We really see, I guess, how useless the Supreme was in Apocalypse, right? Because she didn't really do very much in there.
He killed every last one of them. Well, I mean, what do you expect? He was the damn Antichrist.
Yeah.
So it's like he killed all of them.
Yeah, he was always a step above just being a normal wizard, I guess, right?
Right.
So, I mean,
of course he was. He was the damn child of the...
But no, I say that to say we was classifying him as like a wizard, right? Which, I mean, sure, but...
I think that was my favorite, probably my favorite season of that, because I don't care about...
Which one, 8?
Yeah. Like, just throw all the demonic shit to the side. You know, like the storytelling in it was pretty good, and like the action was pretty good.
That season didn't get enough credit. I feel like that was one, and when they first brought in the witches was the best ones.
And it was a funny season because it was poking fun at a lot of the conspiracy theories that are out there. Well, conspiracy theories. Like, you know, they had the Illuminati in there, and he was the head of the Illuminati when he got older and stuff like that. But I mean, I liked it. Like, I didn't like it for the, you know, the whole devil stuff. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, that stuff is way too much of that stuff in the media now.
It is.
It's way too much of it. Way too much. Like, every horror movie that comes out now is a possession movie, or deals with the devil and stuff like that. I'm not a religious person, but I do see that that's in the damn media all the time.
Yeah, and honestly, you know what? We gonna do an episode on horror movies, because I got a lot to say on that topic too, because it's failing, like the horror genre. But we gonna get into that.
Well,
too.
I mean, the new Evil Dead actually got some really good reviews.
But what is it though?
You're right. But yeah.
Possession. Like, it's all we gonna get into that, because we could take it there on that subject. But yeah, like, as far as the witchcraft stuff, to me, when they brought the witches and wizards in on AHS, those were some of their best seasons. Also because they actually listened to the fans when they said that they wanted them back. After they initially did them, they brought all of them back. You know, including Angela Bassett, and they kept that a secret for a long time. You know, she was even denying it in the media until she actually made her appearance. You know, and people freaked out at that because they loved the lore of her character and of those witches. You know what I'm saying? And they did a good job with it. Now, True Blood.
Wasn't really a lot of witches in True Blood.
And you almost forget. It was kind of a random drop-in. But I think they were looking for a reason to keep the character Lafayette on. But now look, spoiler if you haven't read the books. Lafayette's character dies, I think in the first book. But they wanted a reason to keep him around. So they had to eventually,
funny character.
Yeah, and they had to eventually, make him supernatural in some kind of way, or he wasn't gonna survive this. Come on, like, let's be real.
All right, he did become like a voodoo, because he could talk to spirits, and he was helping people connect with spirits and stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
I never forget when he was doing it for Suki in her room that one time. He seemed more irritated by the spirits than anything. Like, why y'all so loud? Like, slow down. You talking too fast. Like, listen. And it was kind of random, but Nelson Ellis made it work. You know what I'm saying?
That guy, by the way.
Yeah, he did a really good job as that character. Because, like, I read all of the True Blood books back in, like, high school. And I knew that character died. So, like, as I was watching my sister and I watched the show, because this was like when it first came out, we didn't know if he was going to survive. I was expecting him to die. Because I think they set up a death, was it at the end of season 1 where somebody died in the car?
Yeah, I thought that was him in the back of the car.
Me too, because I knew that his character died in the books. And for him to have survived, I was grateful for it. But it was just like, they just kind of came up with anything to keep him around. Because, like, to be honest, he didn't really use his witch powers that much. He seemed to run from them more, and that gave them leeway to introduce, like, the storyline with him and his boyfriend, but then his boyfriend got killed, and he was also a witch. Like, they didn't even address them as wizards, did they? They just said that they were witches, which I guess still makes sense. I mean, I guess, but
we can't talk about witches and warlocks and not bring up the kitty ones either. We got like Twitches, Halloween Town.
Now look,
I love those movies, but man, those were terrible adaptations of witches.
They were. I mean, but yeah, we all got a special place, especially medieval. The Twitches.
I mean, so Harry Potter was medieval style witches because Merlin's beard.
What is that even supposed to mean? Like, oh my god,
I guess.
I think it is,
And then Halloween Town, same thing. Medieval witches doing potions, making the potions. Like,
wait,
making chow to grandma?
Hocus Pocus, we can't forget.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta throw that in, especially since part 2 came out and stuff like that. Like, man.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. Their interpretation of witches was spot on, though. Like, back for Salem times. Like, that was spot on. Because I forget Jessica Parker's character. No, I said Sarah. It's Sarah Jessica Parker. That's her name? Whatever. But her crazy spell. The hypnosis of the kids and stuff. That got some Hansel and Gretel type vibes going on. Like, they lured them back to their house.
Yeah, and it is accurate for that Crucible time period, because that's what comes to mind when I think about that. Oh, yeah, man. Like everybody just telling on everybody and making up these lies. She was possessed. She did this.
Like, there's her spirit up there. Yeah. Oh no, stop it. I'm like, y'all really believe in this?
Yeah, I'm glad they went a little bit deeper into that in part 2 at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. Because they showed basically how people just made the assumption that they was like witches and stuff as kids. Yeah. Chased them out of the villages and stuff like that.
And what be crazy too is most of the time, because we gotta talk about, because we gotta have Fear Street in there too.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Because most of the time it's always the pastor that's the evil one.
Yeah, you noticed that too.
It's always the pastor that's the evil one.
It was the same in Hocus Pocus. It was in that. When they go back to that time period with the colonies and all of that stuff, it usually is. Like, even in the Crucible, it was like the leader of the church that caused everything, and I was telling the lies, pointing the fingers.
Same thing with Wednesday.
Oh yeah, with what was her name? Goody something, right?
Yeah.
Goody, yeah. And that was pulling from the Crucible, because wasn't there somebody in there like Goody whatever?
I think so. And we also can't forget the Chaos.
Oh, ooh, that was my show. I don't care what nobody said. Like, looking past all of the Church of Satan stuff. That show was cool. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah. And that show really showed you, because shows don't Vampire Diaries kind of showed you certain spells come with consequences. It kind of showed you, but this show, literally every spell comes with a consequence. Ambrose was like, look, don't do that. You know it's a consequence. She still did. She did it anyway.
I loved Ambrose. He was always the voice of reason.
Yeah.
He just minded his business. He had his little teacup in the morning, then was just, don't do that.
No, cousin.
Right.
It comes with consequences. Like, what harm could it do?
But like his reaction to that stuff really made you believe, like, don't do this. You know, he was serious. Like, you can hear it in his voice, how scared he was, all of that. Like, you really believed when he said, like, no, you can't do this. Something, you know, this and this is gonna happen. Like, you believed what he said because of how he looked. He was crying. Like, really good acting from that guy, whoever played Ambrose. Like, he did a really good job. But yeah, Chaos was amazing. I loved it. I feel like it ended too soon.
Yeah, the ending, I didn't really care. And then,
the Black Witch is on there too.
Before that,
what?
I forget. I don't know if I should add this one on because the show was goofy. It's so goofy now.
What?
Riverdale.
Well, I mean, I guess it ties directly into Sabrina because I'm hoping that they keep their word and bring Sabrina back somehow. Because I feel like she's more worth the storytelling than what Riverdale was. I'm not even gonna lie, and it's getting bad. Like, even the main characters are ready to be done. They've been talking about wanting to be done with that show for a minute, and it's like it just kind of randomly spiraled into witch lore, and it shouldn't have. I don't.
Riverdale.
Yeah.
Riverdale. That show. Oh, it just went downhill.
It really did.
Cause what was the witch's name again? I forget. Cause I know Chanel was the descendant.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name was, but this went back to like the old settlement days, didn't it? She fell in love with. Dang, cause remember it was a black girl that came into the show. And her ancestor is the one that fell in love with Chanel's ancestor back then. And then, you know, it was really bad to be gay back then, all of that. So they hid that relationship because Chanel's grandparent or whatever was married.
Crazy house, and then when they needed help, they came and got her. I'm like, how y'all gonna, you know, treat her like that?
Right. And then they had that weird curse, and somehow a family was connected to Sabrina's too. It was a lot. And I feel like they kind of just dropped that on us. And didn't continue. That
crap came out of nowhere, though.
Yeah.
Like, she cursed the whole town, and like that crap just came out of nowhere. I could have sworn that old lady was the witch. Shit was something with her.
And it was kind of anticlimactic. They kind of ruined it because it's like they gave us something good that had potential, and they somehow ruined it by just doing too much along the line. You know, you forget that stuff even happened because they just dropped it. Sabrina never came back. It's just like, so where are we going with this? Like, never announced a spinoff Sabrina show. I don't know.
I think Sabrina deserves another season, but she supposedly died at the end. Stuff keep popping. Forget about Lovecraft either.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I love Lovecraft Country, man. Like that show was really good, but like when we first got into it, we didn't want to watch it.
Oh, I didn't know what was happening. I'm just like,
the first episode was like, what is this? Why is he on a baseball field and you got all these crazy monsters and stuff like that? And we finally get further into it. Like the show just kept sucking us in. Like that show was really good.
Yeah.
But for Jonathan Majors killed it in that show. Him and
Journey.
Yeah, Journey Smollett.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she really killed it in that show.
Yeah.
She really killed it. Like you really showed that she wasn't just a side character. She was also the main character as well.
Yeah. And I feel like it was kind of a
Letty and Tick.
Yeah, it was a missed opportunity not giving them a second season to see, because they had the fan love for it. But I don't think that was something that HBO Max or just in general the world was ready for, because it told a story that they weren't expecting and was able to pull in like science fiction bits and pieces to it at the same time and make it work. Because how do you put the story of Emmett Till in a show that has like these weird creatures running around, like what was that, an octopus thing or a dog thing in the first season? People shedding skinwalkers. Like, how do you take all of this, put it together, and make it work?
I mean, it was an alternate 1940 something. It was an alternate.
Yeah, and
alternate reality.
They made it make sense. They made it work, while still bringing in realistic stuff to it.
It was basically tug of war with the witch power between the white and the blacks, and it was segregation around this time.
I'm not gonna lie, the world wasn't ready to see that. And the crazy part about it is the book has existed for a very long time. I think people were just afraid to touch it. You know what I'm saying? Because of how futuristic it had the potential to be, because it was bringing up stuff, like harsh story plots and able to tie it all in. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Jordan Peele could have been able to pull this off the way that they did. They had a really good team, good directors, good writers. They made this work and made it believable. And I think it is such a shame that, they basically dropped the ball. But these days, anything could be revived. So
I hope it gets revived, because I really like that show.
Yeah, and I think it's critical to keep the same team on, because you know how it is. Once they start to change up the team, the directors, writers, all of that stuff goes downhill, right? Because these big companies get a hold of it and it don't tell the same stories in the way that it did before. And something like this, you can't do that to it, because you will literally ruin it. And I bet they let it stay on the air.
Because the first whole season didn't even cover the whole book. It didn't. It only covered the first part of the book.
Yeah.
Because you still had the part where they actually go forward in the future, and Tick and Letty's son is doing the same, not the same thing, but trying to keep the power at bay and get the message and stuff out.
All right.
But it's like, I wish they would have kept going with that.
Yeah, definitely. It gives a huge nod to like black witchcraft and all of that. Even scientists. Because remember, was it his aunt or something that was like controlling the machine? You remember?
Yeah. His aunt had special abilities too.
Yeah, and like that was huge. Because like I remember her kid cheering her on, like, you can be there, drawing pictures of her and stuff like that. Remember?
Yeah.
Her in like a spacesuit and all of that stuff. Like it was a huge show.
And it also, I can't forget about Letty's sister either, because it also brought out like the insecurities that some black women have, like, when she was trying to get a job, and then she started messing with the villain of the show and gave her this potion to turn her into a white woman.
Right, that was huge. So man, that show was so deep for so many reasons. Like passing was in that show. The idea of passing as a white person, being able to literally shed your black skin and turn into a white person. And then she had this inner debate as to whether she should keep doing this, because she felt so bad at her own original skin.
But I mean, at the time, I get it, because around that time it was segregation. Like, you being black, you was just the enemy.
Right.
Like,
and passing was actually a thing that occurred a lot during this time. It was actually a book too called Passing that was written. They did a movie with it recently. If I'm not mistaken, it might have been Trisha Thompson that was in it. Or Tessa Thompson, I'm sorry. It might have been her, but I read it in college, I remember. But that's a whole nother thing, But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff to go on with lot of witchcraft and stuff. Yeah, but we're gonna kick it back to the real reason that we started this. Hogwarts Legacy is gonna be the thing that we end it with, our review of the game. So you go ahead and start. I want to see what you think.
Why? I'm a young Dark Lord.
No, I'm actually curious on what rating you give this game.
Oh, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
Okay, why?
Well, I give it a 9.5 out of 10 because it doesn't have co-op or multiplayer. It definitely needs that. And then also, like, all right, I'm gonna tell you, I still give it a 9.5 out of 10. But I'm gonna tell you what I love about the game and small things that I get nitpicked with the game.
Okay.
All right. What I love about the game, the spell combinations, like how you can combine any spell, you can make your own combinations. Like me, it was always the Accio Confringo and Defendo combination. No, Accio Defendo Confringo and Glacius, because if you use Glacius and Defendo, you can just shatter somebody, literally shatter people. And my go-to unforgivable, believe it or not, was the Cruciatus curse. Crucio? Mm-hmm. That was my go-to because the character sounded so freaking cool when he says it. He said he sounds way more cool than with Avada Kedavra. He sounds way more cool. But
I think the men just naturally sound better saying the spell. Because like when I went to the Dark Arts Arena and my character was throwing around those spells, I couldn't even tell she was saying Crucio.
Your character sounds like an AI.
It was totally not intimidating. It was like, I couldn't even be excited that I had the spells for a brief second because it was just like, whatever, you know? Like, I don't feel the heart in you saying this. And you're supposed to mean it when you say any of the unforgivables. That's the only way that they work. You can't just say them any kind of way.
Yeah. And the other thing with the game is with the story. The story was great, but I wish you had more. I wish your decisions were more impactful. Like, I wish you could actually decide what path you wanted to go on. Like even if you're no matter what house you're in, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, like if you decide to go to the unforgivable curse route, that you know, your character basically turns dark. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Kind of like, spoiler warning, kind of like how you get the unforgivables. You follow Sebastian around he's trying to help his sister, you know, find this cure. He finally finds the cure, and just for all of it to be taken away.
Right.
By his uncle. And the thing is, he teaches you the unforgivables along his storyline, because you can see him going down this dark path. I wish they would have given you that decision for your character too, because in the world of Harry Potter, like, what I don't understand is everybody has a secret for no reason. Like, people want to keep stuff a secret. Like, why didn't you just tell them that? Because by the time you tell them, it's too late. Like, if you would have told them earlier, you know, it could have probably prevented that person from going down a dark path, you know?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the magic that your character wields ain't some type of ancient magic. I don't understand how the three unforgivables are unforgivable based off that power that you have, because that power that you have is way worse. I guess in their eyes, because they feel that the three headmasters of Hogwarts at the time?
4.
Oh, it was 4, right. They felt that this girl named Isadora, she's the person who initially had the ancient magic. She could take pain away, like, from people, and it was like, no, that's dark. You need to stop going down this path. I'm like, what?
But too, ain't it also? It's always like that, because it was the same with like the Crucible and stuff like that. They just assumed that whatever it was dark, you know.
Yeah, like, you can't just assume that. Like, she's helping people. Like, she literally took the pain away from her dad. And then that also brings you back to Sebastian. When he finds out that you have that power, you know, he still tries to find another way to help his sister, because, I mean, he doesn't want to hinder you. Like, so he figures out a way to do it. And he basically teaches you all the unforgivables. And once you learn them all, I wish that impacted the story. There you see our son in the background. But I wish it impacted our story a little bit more. But other than that, I liked it.
Say hi.
Yeah, he just woke up. But basically, to end off mine, like I said, I give the game a 9.5 out of 10 because it was good. I just had little nitpicks with it. But yeah, that's my review for it.
My reason for giving it a 9 isn't the strongest. I think it's simply because the overall storyline to this game didn't catch me as well as I wanted it to. Mm-hmm. And I felt like it was the same with the Fantastic Beasts series. Like, I wanted to like it because it was still the wizarding world, but it just didn't hit, you know, as what I expected it to. I guess that's my reason for giving it a 9. The Harry Potter series had a better story to it. it engrossed you a little bit more. Now, considering that this was a video game, it's only so much you can do. You only got so much time. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the story of it could have been better, and it dragged. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't at all interested in what was happening with my character and the whole ancient magic thing. It just wasn't all that great. So in my opinion, I give it a 9, even though I still love the game. The visuals were stunning. They did an amazing job of actually giving you Hogwarts. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, the game is, man,
they got that to a T, like beyond that. You know, I didn't expect it.
Yeah, the open world of that game is just phenomenal.
Gorgeous.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so, I mean, I expect to see a multiplayer mode at some point. And we talked about this. I really want to see the story behind how the school was even created.
Yeah, like the original 4.
Yes, I think that would be really cool to be able to play as the original 4. Like, it'll be top notch. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the kids are waking up, so we're going to go ahead and go. Thank y'all so much.
Yep.
We'll see you on the next one. You know, we got some stuff planned coming up this weekend, some recordings to do, so we'll be back. We promise.
Yep. And always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to help support the channel. Support us if you like us, but do it. Do it. And this will be up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you know, the other platforms.
Yep. And until then, we'll see y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.